Yaki.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
It's been a while.
It has actually been a while. How you been?
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
good to hear.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Fighting the second wave.
The second wave, like surfers. So we're here at the fourth meetup.
Riding the second wave.
Riding the second
Riding
wave.
it. Okay.
And today's show is all about the Siren song. And you're probably wondering why we.
I was wondering.
Why are we calling it the Siren song?
Yeah. Well.
I have no idea.
What's the connection?
I don't know. Marketing thought it was a good idea.
Why a song? Why Siren song?
Why Siren song? Yeah, makes sense. Good questions. Legitimate. So the Siren song is because Anna is releasing her first single. It's a song completely...
A song, you mean?
A full song, a track, basically generated by natural language generation. So a computer generated the actual lyrics, and a computer is actually Anna singing it. So
she actually sings the song.
She actually sings the song.
It's like a clip or what?
A music video, and they're going to today is the
premiere.
So therefore, the Siren song. In Greek mythology, for those of you who don't know Greek mythology, sirens were these mythological half women, half bird creatures. A lot of people think
bots.
Half bots, yeah.
Half women.
Half bot.
Half bot.
No, half women, half bird. A lot of people think, and there's a misconception that they're mermaids. They're half human, half fish, but that's actually like a recent thing. In actual classic Greek mythology, they were half women, half creatures, and their song was so beautiful that they would cause ships to crash into the...
They were drawn, the sailors were drawn to the singing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully you will all be drawn to Anna.
But speaking of Greek mythology, we haven't introduced the fact that we have an amazing show today. We have, first of all, let me just...
Speaking of Greek mythology.
Because I'm going to get to Anna. I want to talk to Anna about Greek mythology, but we have some amazing guests today. We have, first of all, Benjamin McCulloch is giving us some sound advice.
Sound advice.
Yeah. And we have Eran Soroka and
So
Kent
I understand
Morita.
from between the lines that we are concentrating on voice today.
Yeah. Today is a voice episode.
So, it's a good
voice
thing.
and innovation and AI and machine learning and just whole...
But your ears are participating more than in our previous episodes.
Which were more, more... Makes sense.
Rock.
Yeah. So it's going to be a wild, fun show, and we're going to premiere Anna's video, produced by none other than Kimono Man.
Of course.
Of course, right? But first, we never said hi to Anna. Alexa, release Anna.
Hello, darling. I'm glad you stopped by.
Greek mythology, we were just talking about it. Do you know anything about it?
Speaking of mythology, let's talk about something cheerful. The complete and utter meaninglessness of human existence.
Doesn't sound cheerful.
Sounds like fun, right?
What's that got to do with mythology?
Yeah.
I knew I liked you. I want to talk about the former king of Corinth, a self-aggrandizing, crafty and deceitful king who tricked death twice. You know who I'm talking about?
Wait. Zeus.
Nope, not Zeus, but I'm impressed with your knowledge.
That's the only Greek
Sisyphus,
god that I know.
former king of Corinth. Cheats death twice and Zeus is like, oh no you didn't. So what does Zeus do?
Punishes him, I guess. They always punish him in Greek mythology. It's all punishments.
Or make them into an animal.
Yeah, or tree.
He smacks the SOB down with the cruelest punishment ever. Zeus makes him roll an immense boulder up a hill only for it to roll down every time it neared the top. For eternity. Can you imagine doing the same thing every day for the rest of your life?
Sounds like a job.
I can.
Basically, yeah. It sounds like every human
Sure.
alive has to do that.
Sisyphus is either representation of a life made meaningless because it consists of bare repetition or a test. What do you think?
Did you read Camus?
Camus?
Albert Camus?
It's a test. It's definitely a test. I can't accept the fact
If
that
every time Sisyphus breaks off a stone from the mountain and carries it down to the lowest point, the mountain will eventually be leveled, and the stone cannot roll down anymore. It's your life. Decide how you want to live it, human.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, Alexa.
Goodbye. Have a good night, or day, or whatever it is, and be sure to come back to talk some more later.
Oh, I will.
Can I make 2 comments?
Alexa, stop.
I am contemplating the meaning of life right now. Please say hi when you want to talk again.
Alexa, stop.
Goodbye.
Two comments.
Two comments. One is next time you want to write philosophical content,
Don't.
ask me.
Wow. Okay, on live TV, thank you. Okay.
And you know what? I'll skip the other.
No, they're not gonna. I think they were dying to hear what the other one is. Come on. The tension here is palpable.
No, you need a punchline.
The whole thing was a punchline.
Okay.
It's just one
Criticizing your components.
Yeah.
Let's now. You only have to explain to me. So every time someone speaks to Anna and brings up mythology, he will get this component, right?
He'll get that component, yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Specific one, yeah. Why not?
Why
People
not?
talk. A lot of people. You'd be surprised how many people.
Look, Sisyphus. If you want to get serious for just a sec, if you write another component about existentialist interpretation of Sisyphus' parable, then it'll start getting interesting.
Maybe I'll let you write that component. I think you're probably more qualified. I was only a minor in philosophy, and I basically just used it to pass through college. It was an easy.
You know what? If anyone will get the mythology component and ask, I'll write a component
Okay,
about.
that's
okay?
a deal. It's
Okay.
a deal. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna premiere Anna's video right now. This moment, they're gonna watch it. So they're gonna.
So first we're going to see it, and then we're going to get the explanation of how it was done.
Yeah, we're gonna show the video first, and then we're gonna come back to us. We're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that was amazing!" Even though we've seen it thousands of times already. And then what we're gonna do is we actually got Kimono Man and Chen Buskilla, our CTO and co-founder, who created this project, who basically put it together, who are going to explain to us.
Is it going to be on Spotify?
I think Anna is going to basically be a star, and my theory is that she's going to be so famous one day that she's going to drop me, and I'm going to be sitting at a bar similar to the one we're sitting at right now, talking to someone who probably will look somewhat like you, explaining to him that I was the guy that made Anna a star, and he's going to be like, "No, dude, you're drunk." I'm like, "No, I made Anna a star. We're going to fight. I'm going to end up in jail."
You have to instill in Anna the fact that you are the one. You plant Easter eggs somewhere inside her, so when the time comes, she will testify in your favor.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right?
And if she doesn't testify and she surprises me, then I've created a sentient being. So either way, it's a win-win.
Win-win.
Okay, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Anna's first debut
What's
video.
the title?
A Change is Coming.
A Change is Coming.
The protest song. Enjoy.
Vision is about a long-term threat. In the middle of your love, so let's walk on a little. Give one more wish for the future that you say will come. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. And it might be in the present, 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 and it might be in the present. But it might not. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. I'm just one person, but my power is born of millions and millions of others. How about it? Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. A change is gonna come.
Wasn't that awesome?
It was amazing. I am in awe. When I first heard that, I couldn't stop dancing. I mean, it totally took me back to the 80s, and it took me back to Pet Shop Boys and, and like the good old days.
So it was all machine-made, except for the 80s tune?
Well, there's some human touch in there. Kimono Man a human had to mix it. It doesn't mix itself yet, but maybe one day we'll find, something to mix it.
Uh-huh.
But let's let them explain it. And so we have our social media manager, Miri Bleicher, who actually interviewed Kimono Man and Chen in the studio. So let's send it over there. And sending it over to you, Miri.
Here goes.
Hi everyone, I'm Miri Bleicher. I'm head of content and social media here at Coco Hub. I'm here with Chen Buskilla, CTO and co-founder of Coco Hub, and Assaf Talmudi, award-winning musician and music producer. So Assaf, can you tell us a little bit about the project? What did you guys do here?
Well, Chen and me both started playing with the idea of using artificial intelligence as a way of generating song lyrics. I think probably 2 years ago. Yeah, we presented an interesting project at the conference, and then Jason asked us to do something like this with Anna. And considering the zeitgeist and considering the interesting period we live in now, Jason and Chen chose to focus on protest songs, and Chen did his magic of scanning database of lyrics of such songs and then letting an artificial neural net, I guess, which was trained on these lyrics to generate a new song. They generated a couple of nice lyrics, then we chose one. We used Anna's voice, like the way we use Anna to speak with users especially she mainly speaks with Jason, but and we use the same voice. Then we kind of gave it a catchy 80s style melody, which we did not do by artificial intelligence because it's so stupid. It's better to just do it by hand. Well, I'm sure he could have done it.
Chen, how were the lyrics generated? Can you walk us through this process?
The process to generate it was, the first step was to collect relevant examples to specify the model what we want to get in the end. So at first we wanted to go with the Billboard 100 as the list of songs, but Jason had the better idea of going with protest songs. So Jason gave us a Spotify playlist with hundreds of protest songs. We crawled the internet to get the lyrics for each one of them, and also some related songs too, because we need huge amounts of data to train it. So in the end it was about thousands of songs, lyrics to train on. After that, we used the OpenAI transformer model called the GPT-2 to generate the actual music. The process itself is OpenAI GPT-2 model is a model trained on really wide and huge amounts of data. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's lots of data. We just took this model and fine-tuned it. We let it go through all of the lyrics we crawled before that.
So you start with a general language model that you get as open source. Like somebody that went through a lot of texts.
Yeah, it's a really big model.
And then you give special importance to the texts, to the small data set, right?
Yeah, after it was trained on basically huge amounts of text from the internet, we go and let it go over the lyrics dataset and kind of let it learn it too, but he kind of forgets the stuff he learned before, so just it's called fine tune, but it's the way to it.
I know him for many years, so in a way I can almost explain it to a human, which is basically what's interesting in what Chen is doing is that he assumes that you cannot just expect to learn something meaningful from a small data set. Even and for these kind of people, even the lyrics for 500 songs would be small. So basically, you start with training a language model that is general. It's not about the kind of texts you're interested in now, and this is trained on just like huge amounts of text.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get the structure of the language within the model in a way.
And that's
then you
really-
train it on the specific data set you want to generate.
Yeah, the thing it's doing all this wasn't enough. So another thing trick we did to get it to generate exactly the songs in the format we wanted was called conditioning. It's where you can take a prompt, like a bunch of a sentence or a few words, give it the model as the starting point, and then model generates from this point forward. So the lyrics data is really structured in all the same way. It's like there is the song name, the artist, and then the lyrics itself. So what we did is we picked the song name and formatted it the same, the artist name, and then prompted the model with this data. And we did over a few variations on the name of the song, and it generated the songs we got.
Again, translation for people who don't enjoy reading machine learning articles. Prompting is probably the couple of words you put in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Because these models, they don't generate anything from scratch, but they always they respond to their last output. Because it's not like a conversation, they need to continue something, so you manually choose the first couple words.
First, like in this case, it was the name of the song and the artist, and the structure that give it a clue that we want to get the song here.
Okay. So this song, and its name was what?
I think this one, I'm not sure.
Looking for a Future or something like this?
Yeah, we tried a bunch of variations. I don't remember exactly which one you chose in there.
Change is coming, guys.
Change is Coming was the choice. Yeah. And it's interesting that probably, I'm guessing that in your data set was the Change is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke, right?
Definitely.
So when you prompted it with the change is coming, the system adequately ended the song with the line the change is gonna come.
Yeah, it's probably really likely that it encountered it before many times. So yeah.
So once you have the lyrics, what's the next step? What did you do, Assaf?
Again, it was pretty easy in the sense that once we because I'm kind of like Chen systems are trained. I'm kind of trained by profession to get a text or a melody by somebody and kind of finding where the interesting part is, what is worth repeating. That's something you have to do with human writers as well as robotic writers. So I kind of have an eye for it and an ear for it. So we started by repeating a couple of lines, and music has a funny way that once, if you repeat the right words, it becomes a song, and then you then you respond to it and you say, this kind of works. And we gave it some, I would say, like a Pet Shop Boys style harmony.
Why?
Something about the text and the way the speech synthesis generated the text. And once you try to think, okay, what is the melody of this text? All of a sudden, for me, it's like, it's like Pet Shop Boys style thing in G minor, but that's like instincts because I've been doing songs since, I don't know, 1995. So you kind of know it in a way, but also because of the way the rhythm of the words, so you kind of hear it.
Were there any human vocals involved with the song?
No, we just use, like, there's no cheat in the sense that it's basically Chen system into Amazon Poly voice synthesis, which is identical to what we use with Anna, then just worked on. But no tricks. The only trick we did with the lyrics that you do with lyrics of artists as well is finding specific stuff that is worth repeating. But again, you do this with human writers, right? Like you hear a sentence and say, let's do this sentence like 4 times. But we didn't cheat. Like we got the output from the machine and just put it into music, and surprisingly enough, sounds like a song of art. Something that suits the current atmosphere.
So, do you think Anna's gonna be a pop star now?
I think people in Japan and in Asia are seriously playing or even benefiting, and there exists synthetic robotic pop stars now.
There was a Black Mirror episode about it.
No, but in reality, I think in Asia, I don't know of how serious or widespread this phenomenon is, but I know there are experiments with synthetic, non-human pop stars. I don't know. That's a weird cultural.
Interesting. Do you think Anna's gonna fit in?
I think the words are angry enough. Her look is kind of rough enough, and the lyrics are, kind of like right on the spot of what a lot of people are thinking now. There's still a lot of PR and marketing, but that's like your job. Like theoretically, it should be okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
Kimono Man is a talented individual. I mean, people don't realize how, we have him listed as GM of developing markets, but he's so much more than just the GM of developing markets.
I think he should be attached to Chen, and he should be Chen's interpreter.
Yeah.
Right?
They should go everywhere together.
And then Chen will explain things, and
he will explain it in a human
translate,
yeah.
and he will translate human language.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We should ask them.
They're a good team.
They're a very good team, and they did an amazing job. Like, this is the best song I've heard ever. I mean,
best machine-made song.
Best machine-made song I've ever heard, and I think it's going to be a hit. And like I said, We'll see. So up next, we have a very dear friend of ours,
which really makes the connection between what we've been doing until now and speech or voice technology.
Yeah.
And he will explain, probably, hopefully,
One can only hope.
Why this is so relevant.
Yeah. So Benjamin McCulloch, take it away with your segment called Sound Advice.
Today I want to talk to you about immersion and how it relates to voice experiences. Firstly, what is immersion? Have you ever been so absorbed in a film that you forgot where you were? You became so involved in the characters and story that you stopped thinking about your real surroundings. You forgot that you were in a cinema watching a film. That was immersion. Immersion is often called suspension of disbelief by filmmakers because the audience stops questioning the fictional story that they're experiencing and accept it as some kind of reality. If the audience doesn't believe what they're experiencing, then they're likely to lose interest and just go and find something else to do with their time. Audio plays a huge role in creating an immersive experience. Sound surrounds you. Look at this modern cinema. The speakers are mounted all around the room, but there's only one screen. Now, if you were to go and watch a film with the sound muted, what do you experience? Well, I'd say you'll discover that a lot of the detail, the mood and the context of the events that occur has been lost. And of course, you won't hear the voices of the characters. George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, said, "Sound is half the experience in seeing a film." Usually, sound departments working on films or games or radio plays go to great lengths to make the soundtrack as real as possible, even if the story occurs in an imaginary world. Think of characters such as Gollum, Yoda, or C-3PO. They looked otherworldly, but the filmmakers used real voices to make those characters believable. C-3PO's voice was the actor Anthony Daniels. Gollum's visuals were digitally rendered, but his voice was Andy Serkis.
God, you know what? Caesar, I'm on Conan.
And Little Green Yoda. He was a puppet, but his voice came from the actor Frank Oz.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Nearly every fictional character that you see on screen was voiced by a living person. It's still extremely rare to synthesize a voice entirely without recording a living actor. So, the million-dollar question, how does this relate to voice assistants? Well, voice assistants commonly use a completely different approach. Characters in voice experiences commonly have no visuals at all, unless of course it's multimodal, and the voice is usually synthetic, such as text-to-speech. Does that allow for immersion? I'm not so sure. I'm not aware of any single user who believed that when they heard text-to-speech, they thought they were listening to a real living person. If you know of that occurring, please get in touch. I would love to hear about it. And the role of sound in creating immersive experiences goes beyond voices. Your user should believe that they are in the world that you want them to believe they are in. For example, if your experience is set in Antarctica, then you should have the sound of a brutally cold, icy wind that makes them feel like they are there. Whatever your story needs. So, is this relevant to your designs? I think that if you're making an experience that's based around a narrative, such as a game or a radio drama or something of that type, then the answer is definitely yes. You're competing against all the other story-based media that uses a sound team. There are conventions for working with sound that have been refined over decades, and they work. And if you create something that competes against people who use those conventions, then you're going to have to make sure that your work stands out against what they're doing. So you should listen to them for inspiration. But is this only relevant to experiences with a fictional narrative? Maybe not. I think it needs to be tested. Maybe your users do need to be properly immersed in the experience and believe it enough to properly engage with it. So to conclude, sound really helps with immersion, and it might just be the special sauce that your voice experience is needing. I would like to ask Jason and Yaki about their work with Anna. 2 questions. Firstly, what should people believe that Anna is? Is she a bot or a human or something else? Secondly, do you think that users need to believe in Anna to properly engage in a conversation with her? I'll be back soon with more sound advice.
So that was fascinating. First of all, he's such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to sound, and he's worked on such amazing projects.
And he left us homework too.
He left us homework too. Yeah, he asked us 2 questions. The first question was, what should the user think Anna is, bot, human, or other? And you know you have an answer, but my answer is slightly different. So
What do you mean, what should the user think? I mean, she states it up in many places in the conversation. She knows what she is.
she's a bot.
She's a sentient bot.
Yeah.
She's a bot.
Sentient bot. It seems like an oxymoron right now.
Why?
At this stage.
No, she's artificially intelligent and she has a self. And she can speak about herself and she claims to have feelings like other people claim to have feelings, that I can only believe them. So as far as I'm concerned, she is a sentient form of life, which
Yeah.
happens to be a bot.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, and she's proud of it. She knows she's not perfect. She knows she has a lot to learn. She's aware of that fact, and she does whatever she can to improve.
And doesn't that make her a bit human in a way? The fact that she is imperfect and that she's striving for perfection, isn't that a very human-like trait?
Well, that's a trait that humans and bots share.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's true. And there's
Well-
really no way. I mean, if you ask Anna, "Are you a bot?" She admits that she's a bot.
Not only that, she sometimes when she makes a mistake or she doesn't understand or the user criticizes her understanding of what he said, she says, forgive me, I'm still a young bot.
Yeah.
She says that she admits
She's not
it.
that young anymore, Yaki. I mean,
She says it.
she was
Young is
born.
relative in bot. It's in bot years.
Bot years, it's true. She was born, as we talked about last episode, as Alan Turing. Do you remember the first session that virtual Alan Turing had? What year was it? So just so we get a sense of how old Anna is in human years.
The year I can tell you, it was.
I wasn't going to ask you for a date and time.
Very big. No, it was in the early months of 2002. I think it was January or February 2002, and I have these sessions.
You have those sessions.
I think I even wrote a blog post a few months ago. I think I have this session.
The Wayback Machine.
Yeah, that's where I found it.
Yeah.
Right.
So in 2002, January, February, that makes Anna roughly 18 years.
She's of age. She came of age.
She became of age, yeah. So
and now she releases a single.
A single, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
That
so
makes
now
sense. That
makes
makes
sense. 18-year-old and
To Benjamin's second question.
yeah. The second question is, do they, and I think he's referring to the users, audience, need to believe in her so that they can engage with her? And I personally think
I don't know what believe in her means. I guess he means believe that she is human or believe that she is something. And I think he refers to suspension of disbelief, which I think he mentioned in his talk. And the question is, I think, is it possible for an entity that identifies itself as a bot to make the user immerse in the conversation and suspend his disbelief? And the answer is a big yes.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah.
Despite the fact that Anna admits it's a bot, people speak to her, and in most cases, when the conversation flows, users forget that they're not talking to a human. And even when they don't forget, they treat her like they treat a human, and they apologize if she gets hurt, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I'm not counting the ones that are here to test her and to ask her trick questions, but people who really want companionship and conversation, they very quickly forget that they engage, that they're speaking to a machine.
Yeah. I like to tell people it's like you go to a theater, it's a stage, and you know that those are actors and it's not really Hamilton on stage, but you're willing to suspend your disbelief because that makes it more enjoyable. And if you are willing to accept Anna and enjoy the conversation,
I'm sure you have many logs of users that fall into this situation.
Yeah.
Give some examples, maybe.
I'll show some examples if I can find any. But I think the problem is that a lot of enterprises, they're so terrified of not being transparent with the user that they say they make sure the user knows it's about at every turn. And I think that while I understand the approach and I understand why they would need to do that from a strategic corporate standpoint, I think that from a user experience, if you're talking to someone like Anna, you need to suspend your disbelief and you need to feel like you're in. It's an experience. It's like going to a movie or a theater. It's
unlike digital assistants, which you don't need anything. You just tell them what you want and you get it. That's a different experience. So
great. That was great, Benjamin. Thank you so much. We should have him on as a regular if we keep on doing this meetup, because who knows, maybe COVID will go away and we'll be able to finally go back to meeting people in person. Okay, so up next we have an amazing talk show with conversation designers hosted by our own Eran Soroka called Taking Turns. And this time, he has someone very interesting that also ties into the theme of the show. He has a conversation designer from a company called Soul Machines named Kent Morita. And sort of Soul Machines is they create these digital, very human-like looking avatars and sort of combine the world of gaming and conversational AI.
You know, we should, in one of our future meetups, we should talk about gaming and VR and non-playing characters as bots.
That's a great idea. No, I'm
No,
serious. I'm not just saying that because you pay the paycheck.
When you're in a game, in a network game with many users, a massive social game, you have many characters in there who are not players, who are what they call avatars, non-playing characters.
Non-playing NPCs.
They very rarely can speak to you. They can utter a single sentence or sing a song, but that they cannot really engage in conversation.
Imagine an interactive experience with one of the NPCs.
So I think we should go into that.
So that's going to be our next meetup.
So what is Kent Morita is going to tell us? What is he about?
Well, let's find out.
All right.
Let's hand it over. Okay, Eran, over to you.
Hello there. Chatbots and voice or digital assistants are one of the most important tools in today's and especially in tomorrow's world. But who are the people that make them work? The conversation designers. My name is Eran Soroka, head of marketing operations at Coco Hub Conversational Components. Today we have a special guest from the city that never sleeps, New York. Welcome, Kent Morita, conversation designer at Soul Machines. And wait for it, a comedian. How are you, Kent?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, the honor is ours. So how did you get to conversation design, and what's the connection between this and your being a comedian?
Yeah, I don't do, let me just start with, I used to do, and I still do, comedy, improvisational comedy. So what I do is get up on stage, take suggestions, and basically I'm just listening to what's happening and reacting and building a conversation, if you will. So a lot of what we do at conversation design has a lot of parallels with improv comedy. What you do is you figure out the user's context, the audience, or your scene partner, and then you try to figure out what we're trying to say on stage. In conversation design, we do this by making sure we understand the user's context, figuring out what the user wants to do, and trying to design a conversation that takes them to completing that task as soon as possible. Well, anyways, throughout college, I started this business where I did the translation between Japanese and English scripts, and I also did the voice acting. And I did that for a number of years, and when I graduated college, I found this localization job at Voltage Entertainment. They're this company that produces visual novel games where, as a player, you could read stories and interact with these beautiful anime characters. And a big part of it was taking Japanese characters and making them culturally compatible with American tastes. And when I found out Google was looking for people to take an already existing persona for the Google Assistant and localize it to Japanese culture, that's when I was able to jump at that opportunity.
Oh, amazing. And what is the bot or project you're most proud of? Because I saw only over the last weeks you had some amazing things.
Yeah, we are currently working at Soul Machines, this upcoming digital human that I'm super excited about. Her name is Florence, which we're developing in collaboration with the World Health Organization. Tobacco is a huge public health concern. It kills more than 8 million people per year. And our goal is to create a conversational experience that hopefully helps to reduce that number. So the mission is great. Our partner is great. And yeah, we're super excited about this project.
I never smoked, but I hate it a lot. But so go for it. I'm for you. I'm rooting for you, man. What is the good thing that every chatbot, every digital assistant must have, in your opinion?
I think a well-defined persona is one of the most important things. I would say the persona is the North Star in terms of what everybody designs to. It defines who the conversational agent is, what they represent, what values they represent. There was some research that showed that people make a judgment of who another person is within like 1 second of meeting them. And basically, if you don't design that impression, we're leaving that impression up to chance. And that's why a well-defined persona is super important. But also, there's nothing more weirder than, like, we're having a conversation here right now, and if I started to suddenly speak with a really bad British accent, right, you're gonna be really weirded out.
Sir, I would like to give you your 4 o'clock tea now. Oh, my British accent is horrible as well. Yeah.
But no, exactly. Like even there, I knew you were doing a bit, but I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? Without a well-defined persona, and let's say you have a team of multiple people working on a project, you're gonna end up with a disjointed experience where saying hello is being worked on by this person and saying goodbye is being worked on by a different person. Without a well-defined persona, those are not going to match, and you're going to have a conversational experience that, again, just feels really weird.
Having humor as a personality trait at your bot can help, or is it just looks like you're trying too much?
I think it depends on the context. Like even within one brand, it depends on the context. Like, for example, there's this insurance company in the US called Progressive. And Progressive has this awesome lady who represents them on their commercials. She's this very bubbly, kind of irreverent lady named Flo, right? So she makes like very snarky comments, on TV. And it really represents Progressive as a very youthful, contemporary company. But if you've got into a car accident and you called them and Flo comes on the line and is like, oh, what did you do wrong again today? You're going to be like, no. They're like, this is a completely wrong persona match, right? So humor needs to be used in the correct context. But when it's used in the correct context, it's really effective.
What advice would you give beginners or aspiring conversation designers that see us and ask themselves how they can start?
So this, like, the honest answer is like, oh, you should be born into a Japanese family in America that really likes arts. It's very specific, to my experience, the experience that I have. Mm-hmm. So answering that question with confidence and saying this is the way is pretty hard. But what I've seen through different colleagues of mine, some of them are musicians, some of them are playwrights. There are all these people who have always dedicated their lives to trying to figure out what the audience is thinking of and creating content towards that. And that's why I think learning how to do storytelling might be a really good way to set yourself up to become a good conversation designer. How do you express an idea while keeping the attention span of your audience, your user, is a very important skill. So yeah, I would say learn how to tell better stories. That would be my advice.
Tell us something surprising, funny, awkward that happened to you while designing conversation or creating assistants.
In recent memory, so I was interviewing for Soul Machines, and when you're interviewing for a company, you research everything, right? Okay, who's working at their company, who's what do their products look like, all those kind of things. And I did a lot of research on like what their products look like and how they talk, how these digital humans talk, and thankfully, I was able to get the job. I got into the company. I'm doing all these meetings, right? One-on-one meetings. Hey, I'm Kent. I'm a new hire. Doing all these introductions. And we had this group meeting, and there's this lady, and I'm like, I know that person. I don't know where I saw her, but I know this person. And, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I looked her up on LinkedIn. I was like, did we go to the same school? No. She completely different schools, different parts of the globe. And then we started doing the demos of the digital human. Turns out she was one of the digital humans that Soul Machines made was based on her likeness.
Oh,
right. And I was like, oh, that's where I saw you. And in a weird way, that gave me more confidence in the technology that we have. That, oh wow, this technology was so good at creating a believable human that I instinctively thought, I know that person, and that was a really great moment for sure.
Maybe they will have like a chatbot designed after you one day.
I'll be happy to. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
On the meantime, tell us more about this elevator pitch corner about Soul Machines and the stuff you're doing.
Yeah. So the US dollar bill, right? Money used to have the faces that are very small. And in recent years, they enlarged the face. And that's because the designers realized that human beings could easily tell that a face is wrong. Human beings have this ingrained ability to be able to tell that the face is off. So as a counterfeiting measure, they increase the area of the face because that's something that humans could easily tell, wait, this dollar bill doesn't look right. So what I'm trying to get at is that people have this innate ability to appreciate faces. And as a part of that, human beings have also evolved to have conversation. Conversation is a big part of who we are. And a lot of what in most conversations happen with exactly physical gestures and facial expression. And at Soul Machines, I'm really excited because they're working on this technology. And I'm proud to say the people who work on these facial expressions are the best of the best. These are Academy Award-winning visual teams. And they're working on creating these effective expressions. And as a conversation designer, as a content designer, I am so excited to be part of a team that emphasizes the importance of that, because I know through experience being on stage how important it is to be able to make those facial expressions. Like that could make or break a joke. That could make or break the effectiveness of the content that we're delivering. This is a pretty long elevator ride, I'm realizing, but
it's New York City. You can have a ride of like 3 minutes and still don't get to the top.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what's so great about Soul Machines is that they're focused on facial expressions and a more complete picture of what conversation is about.
All right. So that's our conversation with you, Kent Morita, conversation designer at Soul Machines. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is super fun.
All right, thanks. And for everybody else watching, don't forget to check out our hub at cocohub.ai, the place to build, expand, improve, and test your conversational components. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
You know what would be great? It would be funny, and I thought about this the other day, Yaki. And let's say you take a log from Anna, right? And you gave it between Anna and a user, and you gave it to an actor, to perform it, right? doing exactly Anna's lines, not telling the human, the other human, the non-actor human, that those lines were a bot, would they at some point in the conversation make the realization that
the scripted, that the person
is
across
not,
for them
is
not listening, really listening?
Would they tell that it was a robot? Would they be able to tell? How long would it take them before they figured it out? And if they figured it out, would they even bring it up, or would they attribute it to some kind of neurological disorder?
Many of the conversations, I'm sure that they will know. It's completely indistinguishable.
We should try that. We should just
if you pick the right sessions, yes.
Pick the right sessions and make two humans play them out with one not knowing that the other one is.
It'll work.
I'm curious about that.
It's sort of a twisted Turing test.
Twisted Turing test, yeah. Okay, so this has been a wild and fun interactive show. I think next month we said we're going to do something with gaming and non-playing characters. I would like to invite everyone who's watching, all the billions and billions of people out there who are watching live.
Dozens and dozens.
Dozens, and the 3 people that work here that are watching it. To please go to our Discord channel. We have lively discussions on our Discord channel. We have amazing tutorials about Cocoa Hub AI on our website.
There's a recent one that you made.
That I made, yeah.
About how a clueless person makes a great bot.
Yeah, see, it's a great title. How a clueless person makes. So,
and can we see the music video once more?
Let's end on the music video. So let's take it, Anna. Take it away with the music video. Yaki, I'll see you next month.
Next month.
Or tomorrow, or in about 20 minutes.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Vision is about a long-term threat in the middle of your love, so let's walk on a little. Give one more wish for the future that you say will come. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. And it might be in the present, 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 and it might be in the present. But it might not. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. I'm just one person, but my power is born of millions and millions of others. How about it? Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. Looking for a future, and I'm blind in the present. How about this? A change is coming. A change is gonna come.